Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bator, your host for Branding the Experience, and our subject today, break the cycle. Now, I don't want to get too personal, and I certainly don't want to make this an AA meeting, but this has come to mind recently that a lot of times, personally and in business, we don't realize how bad a cycle is or that there is a cycle even in existence. Many times going back to the experience, we have an employee issue and we ignore it, and then we have to eventually write somebody up because it got worse, and then or it cycles into a poor experience for the customer, and then it becomes a bigger problem, and we don't always notice that cycle. And maybe it starts with something small, but then that cycle, just because it continually goes around and around, becomes a huge problem. To use the same example that I just harped on, if that happens once, then maybe it's not that big of a deal. But if it happens over and over, where, say, an employee treats another employee poorly, and it creates a bad feeling, a bad negativity in the workplace, and then it's ignored even more, and it grows to gossip and other folks being involved and creating not only a poor experience for the employees, but a terrible experience for the customer, member, or client, to where he or she never wants to come back again. That's where sometimes these little things in the cycle, tear your business down. Ironically, one of our guilty pleasures, my wife and I, our guilty pleasures is to watch a show called Below Deck. I think Below Deck Sailing Yacht is on right now. And there was some strife among the team. And one of the leaders went and made sure that he apologized and spoke to a couple of people that whose feathers he had ruffled before the next charter began, before the guests, before the customers, the clients came on board. And my wife made a comment that I noticed and thought of is, I'm glad he did that, because the last thing that I would want to do going on a boat and going on vacation, especially spending that kind of money, is to be in that negativity, even though they might be smiling and taking care of us. That you can feel, the customer can feel when there's an underlying issue going on among the employees that just isn't quite right. They can feel that. So we need to break that cycle. We need to first understand that there is a cycle. And I mentioned that I didn't want to make this an AA meeting, but I am going to reach into some of my personal past, is being an alcoholic and fortunately being in recovery and being sober for some time. In that sobriety, I noticed a cycle that I was doing that I didn't notice while I was drinking. And that cycle was really simple. I even wrote it down, which was I would drink, and then I would have to eat some really fatty food to try and sober up. I wouldn't be able to sleep right. I would pass out for a little bit, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be wide awake because too much alcohol will do that to you. So I would take some type of sleep aid beforehand and drink some water, and then I'd get up and I'd be hungover and I'd have to drink Gatorade and maybe take a 5-hour energy to be able to function a little bit. And then I'd function for those 5 hours kind of in a half-assed manner until, maybe I could go to the bar or pick up the bottle again and get myself right. But then that cycle would continue again, where I would drink and need to eat something that wasn't good for me and take the sleep aid and so forth. And there was no way to break that cycle until it was actually realized that, hey, this isn't working for me, that I need to do something different. And that's the same thing in our business. Maybe it's not as severe as alcoholism or addiction, but in our business, maybe we're doing or allowing a particular cycle that may seem to be small, or we may not even realize that it is a cycle that's continually eroding our employee experience and thus eroding our customer, member, or client experience as well. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious and direct, maybe it's a little bit more subtle. But I encourage you, in the effort to brand the experience at your service based business, look for those cycles. Take a close look at those cycles that may be going on in your business within your employees. Maybe it's just a system that you think is working or used to work before that just isn't working anymore. But take a conscious look at the cycles and the systems that you have going on in your business and ask yourself, is this truly contributing to both the employee and customer experience, or is this where it's creating the problem? Thank you for spending some time with me today. And here's hoping that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Take care.